Well, here we go again. Friday afternoon, and the team that are on at the weekend, we've had 2 ring in sick. That's going to leave me really, really short over the weekend.
Oh.
I'm going to have to ask the team if they'll pick up extra shifts.
Friday afternoon. It's always Friday afternoon, isn't it?
Always Friday
Yeah.
afternoon, yeah. And it's always the same repeat offenders.
Uh-huh.
And I feel really sorry for the guys that are going to, because I know they'll pick up. They're so conscientious, they will pick up.
Yeah, you got some good people
Oh,
working
I've
your
got a
team.
fantastic core
Yeah.
team, but I'm really worried that they're going to burn out.
I'm not surprised, and it's always difficult, isn't it? Because you haven't got lots of extra staff. You know, that's not the way of the world, is it? You've only got the staff that you kind of got. But when people drop, it puts I would imagine, a big pressure on the rest of the team. Yeah.
It puts a lot of pressure on, and I know they won't say no, and that's why I don't like to ask them too often. But
Yeah.
it just seems recently they've been picking up, and I can see them starting to get really fatigued.
Yeah.
You know, and it's only a matter of time before they start going off sick because they're completely exhausted.
Mm. It's a difficult one, isn't it? I mean, how do you manage that? Because I know it's when you've talked about before, isn't it? It's a common theme. So, what are some of the things that you do to manage that? The impact on the rest of the team.
Well, obviously, when these repeat offenders do come back to work, it's a case of doing the return to work interviews with them and explaining the impact that it's having on their colleagues.
Yeah.
It's going to destroy relationships in the home. The staff morale is going to plummet, and the residents pick up on that, and it's not nice. And the residents will say to me when I'm going through, "Oh, Laura, Mary looks really, really low today. She looks exhausted. She seems to have been working every day. Does she not get any days off?" And I feel really bad because they're entitled to their time off like everybody else. It's really difficult.
And I know we're going to talk on other episodes about kind of performance management and how we manage poor performance, and especially around kind of sickness absence. So we'll talk about that in much more detail down the line. But certainly for today, I think it'd be really helpful for us to think about what impact does that have on the rest of the team, and then what do we need to do as managers to help them be more resilient, help them feel more engaged and more willing, like you say, to pick up those extra shifts, because the impact does fall on them. So I don't know. I'm thinking about at what point do they say, well, I'm not picking any more shifts up anymore? How do you keep that goodwill going when it feels like perhaps some of them team are letting them down?
I think I'm probably almost at that stage, to be honest. They've been so good in picking up, and I give them the option of, rather than pick up a whole shift, which is a long day, it's a 12-hour day, to pick up a part of a shift. I can maybe get 3 people to cover a third each, sort of thing, and then try and incentivise them as well. If I've got the ability to pay them that bit extra, or to make sure they get an extra day off the following week. It's trying to give back to them because they're giving everything to me, and it's trying to be flexible and making sure that I'm looking after them, because I've got a duty of care to my team as well as to the residents.
Sure.
I need to make sure that I'm doing what I can for them, and I know the deputy will step in, and she'll help out and take on some of the shifts, which helps, but then I don't want her to burn out either, so it's a case of us all pulling together as a team, and asking, just asking people would they do it, and I'll try not to ask them again, but it's always the same people that will say, yeah, of course I'll do it, and it will catch up with them, and it is catching up with them, unfortunately.
And I know that you always place a lot of focus on looking after your team, your team members, and helping them in terms of their own well-being. So what are some of the things that you do then to help them manage their well-being?
Well, they know that I'm always there. They can come and they can offload if they need just to sit and have a 5-minute break. They can come and sit with me. I do Friday chocolate. We always have chocolate on a Friday, which seems to boost morale a bit, but I might need to give them double bars today since I'm asking them to pick up extra shifts.
Friday of chocolate would work for me, I have to say.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I think, every now and again I'll send out for, pizzas and things like that. And it's just my way of thanking them, because I know they work so hard. Couldn't have a care home without the team. They work so hard, and they never complain. That's the thing, they're always smiling. But it will get to a stage where that'll run out.
Yeah. It only buys you so much credit, doesn't it? Then after that, people start asking questions.
Absolutely. the team know their roles, their responsibilities, but they feel really hard done to, I think, at times, because these people who ring in sick all the time, they don't see anything happening to them. They don't know what's going on behind the
Yeah.
scenes. They don't know that is being managed
Yeah.
and that will be addressed. They just think these people are getting away with it. So it's explaining to the team, well, actually, no, they're not getting away with it. It is being managed. And as you said, we'll talk about this, in another day. But yeah, it's making sure that the team are aware that just because they're phoning in sick all the time doesn't mean they're going to get away with it forever.
Sure, and it sounds like at an individual level, you're quite focused on making sure that people don't burn out, don't push themselves too far, and that's great to hear. But maybe about kind of the overall kind of culture of the home of the organisation. To what extent can that really help you when times do get a little bit tough, and people have to work extra shifts that perhaps they didn't want to do? To what extent does the positive culture that you've created in that particular environment help you?
I think it's made a massive difference. I think we're a very positive team, and I think if you lead by example, that certainly rubs off on the team. We're all very positive. You don't get the negative Nellies that you can get in other places. They're all very positive, bubbly team members, and I think it's because I'm always smiling, I'm always making sure they're okay. I know them all really well individually. I know some of them have issues going on outside of work, and I'm always making sure that they're okay and that they're fit to be at work, and asking them what I can do to help, making adjustments for them if they need to, so they know that I will be flexible with them and that I will help in any way I can. And I think that's enabled me to have such a positive, engaging team who will do anything for the residents, basically. And to be fair, they do anything for me, and that's why I'm always reluctant to ask them to pick up extra.
Okay, so I guess in terms of top tips then, Laura, when it's around kind of helping people not burn out, helping people to still be committed to wanting to do a great job and cover shifts at last minute. So what are some of the top tips? What would be maybe a top couple of takeaways for us out of this one, do you think?
I think you have to be a good listener. You have to be empathetic. You really have to have empathy, and communication's key. You need to keep your team informed all the way. If you've got someone that's rung in sick, you need to let them know right away, so that if they are thinking of saying they'll pick up the shift, they can make arrangements for whatever they were going to do at home. So I think communication's key.
Sure. Okay, thank you. And I think the other thing for me, I think I would add and certainly endorse would be that thing about role modelling as well. I always think that what you project out as a leader, a manager, certainly comes back to you from the people around you. So yeah, leading from the front, role modelling the right behaviours that we want to see. Well, thank you for your time. Once again, it's been great getting your insights into that, and that's very helpful. Thank you very much.
Okay,
We'll see
thank
you
you.
next time.
See you next time.